Hello and welcome to my June video blog. If you've not followed us before, then I'm really pleased to have you join us. If you're an old friend, then it's great to have you back with us again. So June has been all about healthy eating and the important role that food plays in keeping our bodies and minds functioning properly. How we fuel our bodies is so important at any time of our lives, but never more so as we experience menopause, when the reduction in estrogen can have so many impacts on our bodies. For instance, estrogen helps to keep our bones strong. As our hormone levels drop, we can find ourselves becoming more prone to breaks and fractures and developing osteoporosis. Estrogen also helps to aid our digestion. The hormone acts as a go button for so many of our bodily functions, and in particular switches on our acid receptors when we eat. As the hormone reduces, our bodies produce less acid, and so we're less able to digest our food properly, leading to those uncomfortable feelings of bloating and IBS. Estrogen also plays an important role in regulating our moods and body temperatures too. Hence, we can experience a bit of an emotional roller coaster, and don't get me started on hot flushes and night sweats. But it isn't all about estrogen, because at menopause we also start to lose progesterone and testosterone, both hormones that are key in helping us to burn calories effectively, break down sugars and fats, and give us that energy and motivation we need to exercise. So hormones are vital in our bodies, and as these reduce, we need to all do what we can to help our bodies to continue to function well, and that means focusing on what we are actually putting into our bodies in the first place. Now, I'm not going to talk so much about how we do that, but more about what stops us from supporting our bodies better. And this all comes down to our relationship with food. How would you describe your relationship with food? If you've been a yo-yo dieter like me or struggle with an eating disorder, I would say your relationship with food is something more than just fueling your body. It's probably quite a complex relationship. For me, I would say I have a love-hate relationship with food. So what do I mean by that? Right from an early age, food has always represented something more than just fuel. How many of you were rewarded with sweets or a food treat when you were younger? I know my mum and dad did that. When I passed an exam or was deemed to be a good girl, I was rewarded with a treat that was often food. So I started to associate food with good things, a reward for good behaviour. Then, on the flip side, how many times was a sweet treat or some food you loved withheld as a punishment? It sounds harsh, but yes, we may well have experienced that go to bed without your tea moment. So again, a distortion of how we thought about food. We could be given it when we were good, or it could be withdrawn when we were naughty. Oh my, how confusing. And no wonder we started to associate food with so much more than just the need to eat. And hey, let's not forget those moments when we didn't want to eat something. Either we didn't like it, or we were just digging our heels in. Did you ever experience that moment of being told to think about the people in Africa who didn't have enough food to eat? Another emotional response, guilt. Yes, feeling guilty because you weren't eating something when someone else was in dire need. There is no wonder that food becomes something more in our eyes. Over time, we attach emotions to food. Let's just look at the main ones we've talked about already. Happiness, joy, accomplishment, success, or shame, guilt, unhappiness, or sadness. I'm sure you'll have other ones you can add to this list. And then fast forward to now. Are you still associating emotion with food? Again, I know I do. I eat because I'm happy. I eat because I'm sad or lonely. I eat to alleviate stress, and we can throw in drinking wine there too. I eat because I can, a strange feeling of empowerment or that sense of taking control. So you see, food becomes something more than just fuel, which means we can find ourselves eating the things that aren't good for our bodies, or eating at the wrong times of day, which makes digesting our food even harder. How do you feel once you've eaten emotionally? That's a hard one, and sometimes we don't even think about this. For me, I would say I feel even sadder because I know I've not helped my body. I've not honoured myself. Then I feel guilty for having done it, or I start to tell myself off for having so little willpower. The long and the short of it, it's a cycle we get ourselves into that is so hard to break. So what can we do? I don't profess to have all the answers here or even to have nailed it myself, but you can try a really simple exercise that might help you to break the cycle. This is exactly what we have to do. Break the habit of eating when we feel emotion. So try keeping a food and emotion diary. Get to know your triggers. What are the situations that cause you to eat? What do you eat at those moments? And what emotions were you feeling? This will help you to see a pattern and take steps to be stronger in those moments or avoid them if that is possible. Then, when you find yourself reaching for food due to an emotional or automatic response, stop yourself and try doing something different. Try calling a friend for a chat, reading a book, listening to a podcast, going for a walk. The idea here is to break the habit and replace that destructive behaviour with a new habit. Stop beating yourself up. This is a big one and is all about developing self-compassion and treating yourself the way you would a close friend. So recognise the behaviour, accept it for what it is and move on. This is about stopping the destructive internal dialogue that, if unchecked, will actually encourage you to continue with the behaviour even more. Congratulate yourself on the small steps. This is the opposite to beating yourself up and is way more powerful. This is about sweating the small wins, stopping and taking time to give yourself a pat on the back. When we attach a positive emotion to the new behaviour, then it becomes easier for us to replicate that behaviour. Remember, the key here is that congratulating ourselves switches on our reward centres. And don't forget, our brain just wants us to be happy. These are just some of the ways that I help my clients to change their behaviours. And yes, I practice them myself, and like you, I do stumble, but I keep going. Changing our emotional response and relationship to food isn't easy and takes time, but you can do it. It is possible to get out of this cycle of essentially self-harming and build a healthier, better relationship with food. So if this has resonated with you, then do click the like button and leave us a comment to join the conversation. If you'd like more help, then email me at jeanette@phoenixwellness.co.uk and we can talk about how coaching can help you to tackle these issues and have a healthier, happier midlife and beyond. Thank you again for watching and following us, and I look forward to catching up with you again in the near future.